Hi, welcome back to the third episode of the Teal Raven. My name is Terry, and this podcast is about knitting, quilting, sewing, crafts, my recipes, my life in general, everything that I love and that I thought I would share with you. I wanted to start off with what I used to do. That's what I used to do. I was a snake handler for Science from CU Boulder. It's a nice reticulated python. No, that's not a reticulated. That is a retic. Anyway, what I would do is go around the state of Colorado with between 27 and 30 reptiles of various shapes and sizes, and I would lecture to school groups, scouting groups, veterans of foreign wars. I went to retirement homes, anybody that basically paid Science from CU the money. I would go out and I would talk to them about what it meant to be an exotics animal owner, and everybody would get a chance to have their picture taken holding that particular snake, which was named linoleum because it looked like old linoleum to me. And I did that for many years. I was actually known as the snake lady in Colorado. I had people come up to me in restaurants, "Are you the snake lady?" "I am." And they'd look at me like, "Is the snake going to spring out and talk to me right now?" "Oh, no, not quite that bad." But I will tell you one story that happened to me. I was driving a convertible with all of my snakes in the trunk, and we were heading out to the eastern plains of Colorado. I did not realize it, but the Burmese python had gotten loose in the back, and while I'm driving down the road, this snake has come out of the hole in the back where the convertible trunk is. Has come out, and his head is right next to me like this. All of a sudden, this car next to me starts beeping like crazy, and I'm looking over, what? Thinking, traffic, is it an accident up ahead, what? And he goes, and I'm like, oh, and I went like this, and I tickled the snake's neck. I was like, oh, it's okay, I got him, like that. And he's like, but, the snakes knew me, which was good, and the snake was actually having a pretty good time with the wind blowing in his face. It's not like he's had his mouth open and was panting or anything, but his head was a good size. So, one of my snake stories. Anyway, let's talk about knitting. First off is a finished object that I did. This is a hat that I made for Jonathan this last week. I got the yarn from the Buffalo Wool Company. It is Buffalo Quivet, which is just a fancy way of saying buffalo wool. And the colorway is called Doc Susie. Now, Doc Susie was actually the physician in the 1880s up in the mountains where I'm from, in Colorado. And she was the only doctor up there, female doctor, and she made sure that everybody knew she had no narcotics at all, that everything she did was narcotic free, because she was a woman living alone and she did not want to be robbed. Anyway, love these colors. It's kind of sad, but these reds and stuff that might remind you of sunsets actually remind me of the color of the lodgepole pines up there that are now dying of beetle kill. So they have this kind of dark green look to them and this red. Now, when I made this hat, this is my own pattern. What I did was I started here right in the middle, built the hat going this way. So it was like a skull cap, fitted to my husband's head. Then, because I did not want to run out of yarn, which is called yarn chicken for those who are just learning how to knit, I picked up all the stitches along this seam right here and did my ribbing down this way. So I basically, this length was all the rest of my yarn. I just kept knitting, purling 2x2s until I got to the end, and I used up the entire ball of this stuff. Buffalo wool yarn is very expensive, and I didn't want any to waste on a little voodoo doll, so I wanted it all to go into a hat for John. Anyway, he loves it, fits him, and that is my only finished object of the past week. I do have, let's see, I have an unfinished object right now. It's living in this wonderful little bag I just got. This is called the Designer Library Book. Here's back further. Designer Library Book Project Bag. Or book slips, I guess. Book slips. Library. Anyway, they're library cards. It's just perfect for holding a set of sock yarn. I got to choose the inside color fabric. When you order this, it comes from the Silver Shed. It was $25. You can get it on Etsy. You get to actually pick your interior color, and it takes about 3 weeks for the item to come to you, but it's really, really nice. It's it feels like it has a batting on the inside of the 2 layers, so it gives it a nice firm feel. The sock I'm working on is another one of my own designs. Okay, this is that District 12 sock yarn that I made those other pair of socks for John out of from last week. I decided to put a shot of red through there, and then I'm putting in a different colored heel, and I'll put in a different colored toe. There's a little marker, a little stitch marker. Actually wasn't a stitch marker. This is, you can see it up close here. It's Mrs. Potts from Beauty and the Beast. And see right there? You find stitch markers in the strangest places sometimes. I was at Disney World, and they had this necklace for kids, and it had these little clip-on charms to put on the necklace, and there were 5 of them. I looked at it and said, stitch markers immediately, and got these really sturdy, heavyweight stitch markers, 5 of them for $18. And it's got Lumiere and Chip and the Rose, Mrs. Potts. Seems like there was something else too. Can't remember, doesn't matter. Anyway, these will be done. You use stitch markers like this to show how far you've gone in a day. So last night I was at this point, and today I've knit all the way down to this point. So I'll turn the heel now and start working on the foot of that sock, and then get ready to move to the next one. Okay, it's 3A. All right, next thing I'm going to show you is something that came in the mailbox, some yarn I purchased. Now this is the Hue Logo and Grocery Girls Knit 2 Together Club, sock club. I am pretty certain that everybody has gotten their yarn by now. If you have not gotten your yarn and you're a part of this sock club, this is the time to look away. But I am going to talk about the colors this time instead of just showing the yarn. Here it is, the Knit 2 Together. This colorway came with this gray too. This colorway all together is called It's So You. Is that right? Yes, It's So You. Anybody who knows the Grocery Girls podcast, Jody and Tracy are sisters, and they work in the family grocery store business. which is where they got their name, the Grocery Girls. Jody likes the color blue. And they said that in their podcast, they talked about how they chose the title for this this colorway that Hue Logo decided to put together for them. They're putting together 6 different colorways and using memories like birthdays and things like this. Well, they said that when they were little, their mother always dressed them in blue for Jody, the younger sister, and pinks for Tracy, the older sister. And as it turns out, Tracy told everybody last week that she never really was that fond of pink, that she always liked the blue. But c'est la vie. As my mom would say, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. So I'm not sure what this color is called. I think it might be Folsom, but I'm not sure about that. Anyway, I am just dying to cast on something with these. I think what I might do, the colors are pretty similar. I think I might like to try some pole dance socks, which I have done one other time before. This may not work for pole dance socks because the colors are similar in their intensity, whether they're light or dark or medium or whatever. And you usually have, like this would be perfect for pole dance socks. These two, because there's a real difference in color. These two, there's not a huge difference in color. But I'll come up with something. So next time we get together, I will have this cast on and socks underway. The other thing that came with, where is it? Oh no, hope I didn't lose it. They always send a little, oh here it is. They always send a little present with the sock clubs, and this time it was an enamel pin, the Knit Two Together Sock Club enamel pin. So really super excited to get that. It's kind of fuzzy, but knitters are kind of nuts about these pins. We love to collect them and stick them on our bags. All right, my next project is unfinished. It is a crochet project for Mama Lisa, who is the mother-in-law of my daughter. And Mama Lisa contacted me because she wanted me to make her a T'Challa doll or Black Panther. This is the pattern she found. Isn't that cool? His little hat comes off. Oh my God, I just fell in love with this pattern when I saw it. She's like, can you do this for me? And I'm like, I will die trying because I think it's wonderful. This is where I'm at. Oh my God, this pattern is so hard. Okay, got his body done. What? Okay, his legs come off into little pants. So you make the little pants with his legs on them. You attach it together, stitch it around his waist somehow, I'm guessing. His leg looks like a mandrake leg from Harry Potter. I am having the worst time with this thing, trying to figure it out. I've already ripped the leg out once, trying to get it exactly the way I want. So I may just have to say, you know what? I'm just going to ad-lib this pattern and it'll come out the best way that I can, but the instructions just don't seem to be making sense to me. And I can follow crochet instructions usually, but for some reason, this guy is just giving me hell. Okay, next, oops, you can go back over here. Next, I want to talk about some quilts I've done. This quilt is called Spoken For, and it's a Dresden plate quilt. This is the actual page. It's by Lynn Wilder of Sown Wild Oats. Lynn Wilder. Okay, and it's really cool because it has the regular Dresden plate goes around, but then it has 4 pieces that have points on the edge, so it makes this kind of cross that goes in the middle. Now mine, I took a photograph of it because I don't really have a camera that can just haul around the house. This is the one I've done. These are the colors I've used and stuff. Picture's not that great, but it shows how vibrant it is. I'm sorry, I have bronchitis right now, so my voice sounds a little scratchy, that's why. This one right here shows how that cross turns up. If you line up the colors just right, you get that cross. This one didn't work out quite so well. I didn't have it lined up quite the right way. Still came out neat, the way that the cross lined up, but it's not consistent with these. Again, mustard yellow. This color's not turning out as mustardy yellow as I like. I like mustard yellow in a quilt. A lot of people say don't put yellows in quilts, that it's just not that great of a color to use. This is a rich mustard color, and I think it's just lovely. I really, really enjoy it. This is a coffee table. This is on a coffee table right now. It's about 54, I want to say 54 inches by 54. Yeah, something like that. And it took me about a week to put together, and another week and a half to quilt. I hand quilt all my quilts. I don't machine quilt them, so it takes a little bit longer. Anyway, that's one is finished. The other quilt that I have that I wanted to show you is this Yoyo Quilt. This is a double-sized bed from the 1920s, and that quilt is probably from the same era. I purchased this off of Craigslist for $110. That is a bargain at twice the price, easily. A lot of work. Yo-yos, you have to hand do these things one at a time, one little yo-yo at a time. Look at how beautiful that is. And it's just perfect for that bed. Just fits it, and the whole room, it feels like you're walking into 1920s farm bedroom. Just beautiful. All right. Wanted to mention, while I've got you on here, things I know to be true. I have another one. Things I know to be true. This one comes from my mother-in-law. You marry a man for better or worse, but you do not marry him for lunch. And we'll just leave it at that. All right, and finally, I want to show you what I'm reading right now. Normally I read I listen to podcasts while I'm knitting, or I listen to audiobooks, but in the evenings, this, oh my God, is what I've been reading. Fully illustrated Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I just put tagged a couple pages in here I wanted you to see. The illustrations are so gorgeous. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Every single page has got an illustration on it. Look at that sorting hat. Sorting hat picture. The last one I'll show you. It's kind of blowing out. It's the unicorn in the Forbidden Forest. They have 3 of these books out so far. The Chamber of Secrets and The Prisoner of Azkaban are out. I have heard that it's going to take another 2 years for the Goblet of Fire to come out. I look at these books and the quality, the way they're put together, oh man, these are my heirloom books. I want to hand these down to my great-grandchildren someday. And the stories are going to hold up. I know they will. And just being able to sit down and cuddle up with babies and introduce them to this wonderful world with all these pictures. It's like a dream of mine. So anyway, next week, I promise I will show you the girls' quilt. I keep wanting to quilt on it and try to get it done. And if I can get it done, I will be that much happier. Let's see here. I think that's about it. I covered everything. Covered it a lot faster than I thought I would. This is my second go around. My first time I had a phone call, and my phone quacks at me when I have a phone call, so I had this duck quacking in the background. Stopped that, kept on going, and then all of a sudden my neighbor decided to start up the loudest lawnmower in the world, and it's like he was revving it or racing it or something in the backyard, and I just gave up. I thought, this is crazy. I cannot compete with that. So I wiped everything out, tossed it in the trash, and started over with this particular podcast. I try to do podcasts in one fell swoop, just like it would be for a lecture I was giving. Can't really scrap what I say in a lecture, and I kind of feel the same way about podcasts. So thank you. If you like what you've seen, please subscribe. I get so thrilled when I see someone else has subscribed to the podcast. Thank you to the people who have subscribed already. It truly is humbling. I didn't think one person would subscribe, let alone, guess what? I've got like 17 now. And I'm sure people are going, wow, other people have got 35,000. Well, I am thrilled that I have 17. So thrilled. Thank you, Ginger, for being my first subscriber. You are the best friend ever, and I love you so much. That's it for me. I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye.